The next benefit we need to chat about is capital disability. So capital disability is a lump sum that pays out in the event of you becoming permanently disabled. So this is very important to understand. It has to be a permanent disability before capital disability pays out. If you get into a car accident and you hurt your neck and you lie in traction for 3 months, you will not get a capital disability payout because it's not a permanent situation. You will recover from it. Capital disability pays on permanency. That is very important to understand. And it pays out a lump sum amount. Now, all capital disability is also not created equally. So be very careful when somebody comes and tells you, oh, your disability is costing you X, I can give it for you for cheaper. It depends on what the type of disability cover is. Now, there's a lot of different ones. I'm going to just look at about 4 different types. The first one is total disability. Now, that's the worst capital disability, barring accidental disability. So accidental disability says you have to be disabled as a result of an accident. So if you get a stroke, it doesn't pay out. Total disability says you have to be permanently and totally disabled of doing any kind of job ever again in your life. That is total disability. So you basically have to be very close to a vegetable before it actually pays out. So total disability is on the worst end of the scale. Then we have something called occupational disability. So occupational disability is own or similar occupation. So what that means is if you get a disability and you can't do your job, but you can do something similar to what you've done before, it still won't pay out because you can do something similar. You can still work. And then the next one is own occupational disability. Own occupational disability says if you cannot do your designated job, doesn't matter if you can do something similar, if you can't do your job that you have declared, then it will pay out. And again, permanency is important to establish. And then the last one is functional impairment cover. Now, functional impairment cover doesn't cover your occupation. It doesn't look at whether you can still work or not. It looks at you as a normal human being. It says if anything happens to you that impairs your function as a normal human being, it will pay out. Whether you can work, can't work, doesn't matter to functional impairment. It also, functional impairment pays out in percentages as well, where occupational disability or disability in general pays only either 0 or 100. You're either disabled or you're not. Functional impairment can pay out 25%, 50%, 75%, or 100%. To give you an example, if you lose the use of your left arm, for example, functional impairment will pay out 50%, even though you might still be able to do your job. Okay, so what is the purpose of capital disability? Primarily, the purpose of capital disability is to make sure that you have enough capital to pay off all your debt if something like this happens. And secondly, to do changes to your lifestyle, the bed, the bath, the wheelchair, those kind of things. If you cannot get income disability, you might add more capital disability so that you can invest that for an income. But in our planning, primarily capital disability is used for change to lifestyle and to have capital to pay off the debt. Again, how much do you need? Firstly, go calculate how much debt you have. That is your first amount. Secondly, with change to lifestyle, it is an impossible question. We cannot determine exactly how much you would need because we don't know what's going to happen to you and how much it's going to cost. So as a rule of thumb, we use 2 times your annual income as a goal for change to lifestyle. Is it 100% accurate? No, it's not, because there's no way it can be. But the thought process behind it is your income usually determines your standard of living, which will determine how much it costs to change that standard of living. Somebody earning 300,000 Rand a month, well, his car or her car would probably be more expensive to change than somebody earning 20,000 Rand a month. So that's the thought process behind that. Those two you combine, and that is your capital disability need. If you have to make provision for income through capital disability, you do the same thing as we've done on life cover. So it's very similar as the question on life cover. The only difference here is that you will still be around. You will still have to eat. You would need medical aid. You would potentially need insurance, clothing, all of those kind of things. So adapt your amount that is needed monthly to include those expenses. And then again, let's say you get to 15,000 Rand a month because you are now still around. You multiply that by 300 to get the capital. So 15,000 Rand a month will give you 4.5 million capital. So then you will have 4.5 million capital plus your debt combined plus 2 times annual for change to lifestyle. And that will give you the total capital disability amount that you need. Just another point on the permanency. Usually it takes about 6 months for capital disability to pay out. Again, what about COVID? Well, again, if something happens and you become permanently disabled as a result of the COVID virus, you will be paid out as per normal. Doesn't matter how you become disabled. But chances are very slim, if not zero, that COVID will lead to a permanent disability. So it's not something in this area that you need to worry about.